music is literally soul food for me. It feeds my soul, and that's, you get brain food, and you get heart food or whatever from things, but I tell you what, music is it for me. It does the trick.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the last episode of 2018 for the Better Each Day podcast radio show featuring Linda Nicole Blair.
Welcome to the Better Each Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. Today and every day, reaching out for innovative ideas in every way. Today's show is brought to you by your future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee. Make a better stay now, baby. Better in every way.
Linda Nicole Blair, welcome to the show. You are a musician, teacher, and writer.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of hats.
They all fit pretty well together.
How is it?
It's like a hat with it's a multicolored hat.
How is it you got into music as a child? Or?
Yeah, I started playing the piano when I was 4 or 5 years old. I don't really remember anymore. I just remember my brothers all played the piano, and my mother made them take piano lessons. And, we had a piano in our house from the time I was born, so I wanted to be like my brothers. So I would climb up on the piano bench and try my luck.
Could you reach the pedals?
Oh, no.
I still can't, no. But then you got into guitar.
Yeah, I started playing the guitar. Actually, I picked up a ukulele when I was in the Girl Scouts when I was a kid because, you go camping and we would play the ukulele and sing things like Kumbaya around the campfire, literally.
Yeah.
So I started playing the ukulele, and then I never picked up a guitar seriously to start playing it until about, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. So I guess I just wanted to do it.
You play great. I'm looking at
thanks.
Your early influences, and I listening to you, this makes sense, but Carla Bonoff, Joan Baez, Joni Mitchell, and of course everybody says Beatles and stuff like that. The one that gets me, you have Emmylou Harris, you sound a lot like her. The one that gets me, and I'm a fan of the Family and a lot of their songs from the 60s, early 70s. Susan Cowsill, how does she fit into it? Yeah.
Well, Susan Cowsill, I think, was a big influence on me as a kid because she's 2 years younger than me. And I was always like, oh, man, she has the perfect life. She gets to tour around the country and sing and dance and just, hang out with her family. I just thought it was the neatest thing ever. And, it was sort of like the musical version of, what was here's a story of a lovely lady. I mean, it was like,
The Brady Bunch?
And then, yeah, like the Brady Bunch. And then,
they inspired the Partridge
Sorry?
Family. They inspired the Partridge Family.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
And so they're really the real Partridge Family, and no one at the time knew it except me, of course. No. But I've always just had a lot of admiration for her. And she is an incredible songwriter. She's a great songwriter, as it turns out. And she's been making new songs, writing new songs most of her life. And so now she and her brothers, two of her brothers, tour. She's also been in other bands. She worked with Dwight Twilley. I mean, she is quite the amazing musician on her own, in her own right. So she's been a huge influence on me and just really inspirational.
She did a cover of Don't Worry Baby by the Beach Boys.
Oh,
Brian Wilson song. That's really good. I've listened to it probably 50 times. And
she has the most beautiful voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she exceeded really what the Family did.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think she has inspired her brothers to keep making music, and then her older brother, Bob and Paul they're the two that tour together. The three of them tour together. And her brother, Barry, was drowned in Katrina.
Yeah.
That was pretty sad. But anyway, I know you don't want to talk all about that, but just she has been a big influence on me.
Oh, I have the ability to edit anything out that I want. So.
Oh, well, okay.
We can go off on any.
I guess we're not exactly live here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know it just feels weird.
But I have lots of. Well, that's why I asked the question, because it's a human interest thing, and I'm kind of a closet cowsill guy.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I like all kinds of stuff, but yeah, I grew up with them too. And when I was learning to play guitar, I was learning their songs and stuff. And then I hear them interviewed later, just in the past few years, and they're saying the same things I was saying. They were listening to the Beatles, and they wanted to have hair like that, but their parents wouldn't let them do it. And it was very parallel stories. But they also got, did you see the film that they made? Just a teeny bit. It really reveals sort of a tragic side of the family.
Very sad, yeah.
But and that's the backstories. We all have that. I haven't met anybody that hasn't run into resistance or adversities at some level.
Yeah.
But I saw an interview of Steven Tyler, front guy, lead singer of Aerosmith. Cowsill fan.
Really?
I know.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
I know. I thought, Jesus, my whole life I'm going, I kind of like the Cowsills, but Steven Tyler can do it. I'm in, So.
That's awesome. Oh, my God. I just love him even more now.
That's what it did to me, too. I thought you're
what
like
a great guy. I love him for admitting it.
Yeah, you wrote the textbook on post-Mick Jagger frontmen for rock bands.
God.
So let's talk about, which song do you want to talk about first? My favorite right now is By Your Side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people have told me I've gotten some good feedback on that on Reverb Nation. I don't even know where that came from, honestly. I just, a lot of my songs just, I don't know. It's like I sit down with the guitar and I start messing around just with chords and rhythm and, thinking about, maybe I saw a story in the news, maybe I was thinking about, just relationships in general, and I don't know. I have no idea.
Can we do this? I'm gonna start this line and you finish it. If wishes were horses,
beggars would surely ride.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
Well, that old saying, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. I stole that.
Oh, okay. That's what I
totally stole that, but I put surely in there because I wanted to kind of give it a little bit of,
phrases better.
Like an irony. There's a little bit of sarcasm in there.
Oh, okay. Well, well, a few years from now, you can say it's original and nobody will know the difference. You can.
It's an old saying, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. And I just kind of I twisted it just a tad.
How come I didn't know that?
I don't know. Maybe because you didn't grow up in the South. I don't know.
Wishes were horses, beggars would surely ride. Would I go with them? I just can't decide. If everything I want and everything I need is here by your side, by your side. If God was a woman, would there be any war? It wouldn't be the shooting kind. She'd just walk out the door. Looking for what she wants, for everything she needs by her side, by her side. Memorize your heart so we can be together even when we are apart. You're everything I want, all I need. I want to be forever by your side, by your side, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your side, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your side, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your side, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your, by your side, by your side, by your side.
Where are you from? I detect a little bit of an accent.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Well, that's...
South Mississippi. I grew up in a little town called Laurel, which, if you look on HGTV, there is a show called Hometown, and it features Laurel, Mississippi. It's really cool. It's like one of those fixer-upper shows.
Okay.
And the people that run the show were brought up in Laurel, and they went away to college. They met each other, got married, and decided, hey, let's do a fixer-upper show, and let's base it in Laurel.
What's the
So
population?
I don't know, maybe not much more than 20,000 people.
Depending on what day of the
town.
week. Yeah, the town I grew up in is about like that now. In fact, it's quite a bit smaller. But
Yeah, Laurel might be smaller, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
Aberdeen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So Elvis was from Mississippi, wasn't he?
Tupelo,
Yeah. So
which is North Mississippi.
lots of music comes out of Mississippi.
Yep, we got some good stuff.
Must be the water.
I don't know. I mean, I think I've studied literature as well, and I think, William Faulkner, obviously, and Eudora Welty. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, but I think I've also studied the blues and the history of the blues and the culture of the blues and, the relationship between blues and rap and jazz and all that stuff. And I think, if you look at people who struggle and people who are being discriminated against or held down, or I think that they find ways to express themselves that go beyond their circumstances. And I think a lot of that music comes from slave days. The blues started in the slave days, and from my reading, I've kind of figured out that if it hadn't been for the blues, we wouldn't have rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all connected.
Yeah, you're not alone on that thought. And I think that theme holds true a lot to music, that a lot of good music comes out of oppression.
That's right.
And blues certainly did. And, of course, the guys in England got a hold of it and sent it back as British invasion, they called it.
That's right. That's right.
But it probably originated in your hometown.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's true.
Do you have a process for writing songs, or they just kind of come to you out of thin air? Tough question, because
Well, it depends. It depends, because I think some of my songs are based on, like I wrote a song based on a poem by Emily Dickinson called Wild Night, and I just turned the song into Wild Night, which I sort of based my lyrics on hers, and I used some of, like 3 or 4 of her words in my song, but it's an original song. I mean, you know, but I did that, and I've written a couple of others that are like in my second CD, I have a song called I Have No Answer, and I based that one on a poem by Edna St. Vincent Millay. So, I mean, there's, you know, that kind of stuff. And then there's, like, I wrote Tennessee Honey.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Where did that even come from? I think I was just, again, I was kind of messing around with, I wanted to tell a story. And so I thought of the phrase, Tennessee Honey, Mississippi Shine, like short for moonshine.
Yeah.
And I was like, And so I just kind of messed around, and I had several rough drafts of that song, and then ended up with what I've got.
Papa was a farmer up in the hills. He never had a nickel, always had a still. He could take a flower and grind it into gold. He built a little kingdom, but he lost his soul. Making Tennessee honey, Mississippi shine. He made a little money, drank away his time. He never saw it coming till it knocked him down. Tennessee honey, Mississippi shine. Papa met a lady, Lily was her name. Lily had a wild streak Papa couldn't tame. He took her for the real thing, but she took him for a fool. And on the way to church, she took him to school. Tennessee honey, Mississippi shine. Well, he was making love, she was making time. He never saw it coming, 'cause it kicked him from behind. Tennessee honey, Mississippi shine. Early one morning, Lily ran away. Papa cried for months, nothing left to say. He found her in a churchyard, a baby by her side. He named that baby Lily. Yeah, my mama's child. Tennessee honey, Mississippi shine. Making me some money, buying me some time. He'll never see it coming till I'm way down the road. Tennessee honey, oh, Tennessee honey, Mississippi shine. Making me some money, buying me some time. You'll never see it coming till I'm way down the road. Oh, Tennessee honey, Mississippi shine. Tennessee honey, Mississippi see, honey, Mississippi shine.
So it kind of depends. I think sometimes I have an idea. Mostly it comes when I have to have time, right? So I have to have blocks of time where I'm not busy doing other stuff. And then I just kind of sit down with my guitar and whatever happens to be. Sometimes I think what's been on my mind lately. Sometimes I have an idea for a song and I'll sit down and start messing around with chords and rhythms, and I don't know. It varies.
What was the inspiration behind Monday Morning Blue?
I have no idea.
Other than Monday morning being blue?
Well, I think I wanted to write a song that had a good beat to it, and I wanted to do something that was a little bit sexy, something about relationships. And, we've all had those relationships that you thought were going somewhere, and then it just kind of went blah, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
We were so happy yesterday. Now today you don't want to talk to me. So I think I was just trying to create like a story, like a scenario, and then sort of, created a character, I guess, and a storyline.
Monday morning, had no warning, said you were feeling blue. Should've walked away, didn't wanna think that you and I are really through. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, Monday morning blue. Friday night was nice, I didn't think twice when you hollered out her name. Should've walked away, didn't wanna see the ashes underneath the flame. Oh, yeah. Oh, Monday morning blue. While the sun is high, birds are singing their little love songs, my head is ringing. I wonder why I'm still here. Monday morning blue. Since you're still around before the day burns down, I still got time to pray. I don't know, my friend, what's around the bend. I need your love today. While the sun is high, birds are singing their little love songs. My heart is clinging to you. Why are we still here? Monday morning blue. Monday morning blue. Monday morning blue.
Can we talk about your teaching?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Everything. I want to know your entire life in 3 sentences. No.
Well, let's see. I got a degree in music, so I have a BA in piano, and then I went back to school and got my MA and PhD in English, and I've been teaching some kind of literature or writing since I was about 22, and I've taught in my graduate school. I taught, and then I got my first job in Hays, Kansas, and then I moved here and I've been teaching. I taught at TCC for a while, and then at UW-T part-time.
A lot of the listeners are not local, so what are these colleges that you mentioned?
Tacoma Community College.
Okay.
And they have a branch in Gig Harbor, so I taught part-time there, while I was also teaching part-time at the University of Washington Tacoma, which where I'm teaching now. So I've kind of worked my career after teaching 12 years as a part-time instructor, quarter to quarter. Then I was hired year to year, and then in 2016 I was hired on a long-term contract as a senior lecturer. So it's been a long and interesting career.
You still find time to perform and write and record?
Yeah, I make the time.
You're busy.
Well, life is short, right? It gets shorter every year. Life is short, and I want to do as much as I possibly can and have a great time doing it. And then when I look back on my life, I can go, hey, that was pretty fun.
That have had an impact, because I think you've taught a lot of people, and your music is great. It's inspirational.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm just, and I'm constantly writing. I write a song at least once a week, if not 2 times a week. I'll try to write something. And not every, as a songwriter, this is true. Not everything you write ends up being anything, but it's the practice of songwriting that's good, right? Because we learn from everything we do. So
I record a lot of just what I think are kind of lame ideas, or I write stuff down, and years later I'll pull it back up, or I'll just think of it again, and it'll become something else. So
right. I love that.
It all kind of comes around again. But yeah, I think if I didn't write down some what seemed to be just menial, insignificant things, I'd forget them. So sometimes,
that's exactly right. One time I was in North Mississippi, and I was attending what is known as the North Mississippi Hill Picnic. And it happens every year north of Oxford, Mississippi. They have a place where they hold this big, huge concert venue for 2 days. It's amazing. And if you're ever interested, you should go. It is incredible. As part of the deal, you can pay a little bit extra and get lessons from the artists who are performing at the picnic. So Luther Dickinson was one of my teachers. So anyway, I was on the way to this workshop thing, and I thought of a song on the road to Memphis, and I pulled off the side of the road, and I had my cell phone, and I recorded just the verses that were in my head right then, and kind of an idea.
Yeah.
And then I got back on the road and kept driving because I was afraid I would forget it. So I love cell phones for that, because they have it's so easy to record stuff now.
Yeah, and some of the recordings I've recorded on just about anything that will record, and you listen back, and they sound like hell. What was that? But the idea is there. There's just enough to remind you of what it was, and of course you hope nobody ever hears the recording because it sounds like you were drunk or something.
Right. That's exactly right. But if we didn't, I feel the same way. If you don't write it down, it's gone. And I sort of think about it like a kite in the sky, and when the wind catches the idea, when it starts to go, you got to catch it, because if you let it go and go, oh well, I'll get another one, you won't get another one.
So that
same idea
you even think poetically, don't you? Do you have dreams of music? Paul McCartney says he thought of yesterday, the melody of yesterday, in a dream.
Whoa.
Well, he called it Scrambled Eggs because he hadn't made up the lyrics. So he sang Scrambled Eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
And later it turned into an omelet. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. I wish I could be that lucky.
Music trivia. Oh, you're doing it. You just don't realize how you're doing. I think everybody's brain is this warehouse, but you have to figure out how to open the door, kind of, And sometimes,
That's right.
Sometimes,
well, some people use drugs. I would never do that. That's just not who I am.
No, that's leaving home and you might not be able to find your way back.
Yeah, I'm not really into that.
Yeah, me either.
I think writing every day is my key.
I'm hearing that more and more. In fact, the last episode that I did was a woman. She lost her brother as a teen. He was killed in a bicycle accident. He was hit by a car when he was 13. She was 16. And she carried that around with her a long time, and it wasn't until she really got into writing, and she wrote a book. That brought a lot of peace to her, and then she wrote songs. And yeah, it's the last episode that I published. And the songs are really good. She had other people play the songs and stuff, and you wouldn't know that it was a Jewish white woman that lives in Canada, that I don't know how old she is. I would guess close to 70. But the song is done by one of them. The song in particular was done by a black guy from Philadelphia.
Cool.
So you'd never guess who the songwriter was. It's like
that is cool.
It's like the librarian wrote a rock song or something.
Good for her.
I know. I thought that's really cool. But it because of the writing, is the point I was going to make. It really gave her some healing.
Well, I think some people where I work probably think I'm a freak. You do what?
Yeah.
You play the guitar and you sing at clubs and you make CDs, and I'm like, well, why not?
I feel the same.
Everybody has their thing.
I feel the same, that people think that of me sometimes too, but I don't give it much thought because I think it's inconsequential to the history of the planet, and it's fun.
Yay.
But I also think everybody has it in them. They just don't do it. And I think if everybody was busy creating, there wouldn't be as much of the destruction in the world.
I agree.
There I go, being all philosophical, but that's what I do.
No, I totally agree with you. I think, I try to use my music in my classroom too. I teach a class on literature and music, and I try to expose students to the fact that music isn't just something for other people to do.
Yeah.
You can do it too. You can write words. You can experiment with sound. And I've taught the class a couple of times, and every time I teach it, I learn something about how to tweak it and make it better.
You're learning from the students, though. That's a good thing.
Oh, definitely. Every time.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think everybody has the music. It's the most universal language, I think, that there is. And you don't have to be able to read, and you don't have to be able to play piano, or that's what I get people, I can't read music. I try to tell most pop guys, those people don't read music. When I went to college, you probably ran into this. I majored in music as well. And
oh, did you?
Yeah, at WSU.
Cool.
I really played by ear quite a bit, so I couldn't sight read as well as the symphonic orchestra people. But they couldn't write, and they couldn't play blues.
Yeah.
Until I met a guy named Jimmy Washington from Mississippi.
Neat.
Yeah, and he was I'm about 5'6". He was about 6'6". I'm about the whitest guy on the planet, and he was a black guy, and he talked like a guy from Mississippi that really had an accent.
Cool.
But when we played blues together, it was like we grew up in the same house. It was
yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was just amazing. And we just looked at each other and laughed like, we were two completely polar opposite looking people, but we just communicated perfectly that way. And I don't know where I got blues. Off of records, I guess, because not a lot of people played it in the area I was growing up in. But yeah, you take the blues scale, minor third, minor seven, and throw it into a rock deal, and now you got a rock solo. So
you're going.
That's it.
I mean, and the thing is that the relationship between all of those different kinds of music, I've learned so much more about that since I started playing the guitar and hanging out with musicians. I love hanging out with musicians.
Oh, I know.
I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot more about that. And I do think, I will say this about my own musicality or whatever. I am very grateful for the fact that I learned but I played the piano and I learned all of that. I learned scales and I learned all that because it really does help me when I sit down to do a song. I know the relationship between keys, and that helps me tremendously. And, a little bit of theory goes a long way.
Absolutely. And in learning, this was a fellow student that told me this. He said, learn all those scales and then forget them. Otherwise, when you play music, it'll just sound like you're playing scales. And it's true. It's good to know all that stuff, but it has to become second nature, as you well know.
I think so.
And that's where the music comes from. You are in that you're very up, and that's one of the things that I like. If anything, if people spend a half hour listening to the show, I want them to feel good and positive about things, because there are so many things out there that aren't now. And
well, I would just add that music has been, how do I encapsulate this? Music is literally soul food for me. It feeds my soul, and that's, you get brain food, and you get heart food or whatever from things, but I tell you what, music is it for me. It does the trick, and I love music. I'm so grateful to my parents for all of the music education, for paying for all of the music lessons, for giving me that gift, because it is definitely, it's a lifesaver. It is.
Couldn't have said it better.
That's what it's all about, right?
I think so.
Thank you so much, Bruce. I'll let you go now.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, and enjoy your Saturday.
Oh, you too. Well, I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah. Talk soon.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Listening to the Better Each Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. We'll be back with a new horizon, but until then, honor the future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee.
And we're all just trying to make the next day a bit better.